the first paint scheme we are going to be making, and I know it's kind of crazy that I'm putting this paint scheme even on the same screen with this paint scheme. People are going to be like, oh, Sloppy, how dare you do this to me? But the first paint scheme we are going to be making is, I don't even know how it's going to pop up right here, but yeah, this guy. We're doing it. We're doing it live right here on the channel for all my Dale Earnhardt fans that have been waiting very patiently for a Dale Earnhardt car. Y'all are getting your wish. It's happening. All right, so here's the style you want to use. This is the style you want to use for your 3, okay? Now, for anyone that has not watched my paint booth videos, shame on you. I'm kidding. So this is all part of the number trick. Bear with me. And I'm making this live right here. I have never made this car before, like, on a video. I've never done a test run. Nothing. I'm making this on the spot with you guys, okay? So, that's the style. That's the color. All that, okay? So, when we go to the personalize here, you're going to slant this number all the way to the left. 40 degrees to the left, okay? Your shadow direction, use the D-pad. It's a lot easier. You want to put your shadow Y and your shadow X to a 0. And you're already noticing, oh, the number is starting to go back to the middle of the car, which is great to see. Oh, did I do that right? Yeah, I did. Okay, all right. And your outline thickness, put that to a 0. Does anybody know what I'm doing right now? I hope you guys are slowly seeing what I'm doing right here. Alright guys, for this part of the video, I wanted to speed it up, but also just kind of talk to you about what we should be doing here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take that pizza slice. You're going to turn the size down a little bit, slant it, play around with it a little bit. Again, always pause the video to see the angles and everything. If I didn't speed up this video, we'd be sitting here for like an hour right now. Plus, I would think right now the best way to describe how to make the 3 would be to talk to you. So you're seeing right here, I'm just using some basic shapes, pizza slices, squares, playing around with the slanting and the spinning to kind of give that 3 the round edge, but also that flat style going down. This is very important to make sure you capture the 3 the way it's supposed to be. And as you can see right here, I'm just going ahead and copy and pasting those pizza slices I used earlier, skewing them on the bottom of the number. And you can also use this reference photo I put in the video as well to get the best representation of this 3. Now I'm working on the little curve on the outside / inside of the number, and you can tell right there, you want it to kind of make the bottom half of a heart to where it's kind of got that circular going in, but also that point as well. Now you're going to see with this number here, the best thing I can only do, the one problem with this number actually is I can't make that middle part of the number smaller. It's very bulky, it's very wide, and you'll see later on once this 3 is completed and everything that unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that. Everything you see with this 3 is going to be spot on besides that middle part. So the perfectionist in me gets really mad about this. But as you can see here, we're working on the top and bottom of the number, more so the left side. Once again, you're just going to go ahead and take those pie or pizza slice shapes with some squares, and you're just following along with this picture I have here as well. You got to play with the skew a little bit to give it that little slant and everything, but it's one of those, this is one of those numbers when you finally get the base down, it's actually really easy to make. And you can actually see right here too, you can also make a Dale Jr. number 8 as well. I actually thought about making it on stream as well, but I didn't do it because, I was starting to get a little tired and everything. So as you can see here, we're taking another square and we're skewing it because you want to match, you see that the inner edge on the left here. I'm matching when the number's going up with that edge right there, as you can see with the number right here. This part took a little while because I wanted to be really perfect and everything, and you can tell the top left, the little pie shape sizes, it's going out a little bit more. And then right here, we're going to start working on the outline of the number, which is red. Now, it's not too bulky of a red, and we'll start working on this in a second here, as we're going to go to the inside part of the number, because you could see it actually has a little bit of a round inside. It's not as bold as the outside. So what I did here was I just took some rainbow style numbers, and then I went back to this triangle. It's like half a square, but there's a circle inside. I don't know what you call that shape, but we went ahead and took that, and we thought that might be the best option to give it that round look on the inside of the number. Now you definitely got to play around this a little bit here because, as always, the number, any decal you put over the number is always going to go on top of it here. So once again, the inside of the number is not going to have enough space the way it should in real life because of what we have dealing with the number and everything. So you'll see I'm doing the best I can to my abilities with this and everything. So right now we're going to go and put that there to give it that round edge on the left side of the number. Same thing going for the top left corner as well. And as soon as we're done with this part right here, we're going to go to the outline and make it red. I just realized at this moment too, one of my amazing community members, Gunner, gifted 10 subs at this moment. I'm always thankful for my community over on Twitch. It's such an amazing time. I remember this stream and it was such a party. Everyone was having a great time, enjoying it, giving me very positive comments on what we were doing and everything, guys. So please make sure to go over to Twitch, twitch.tv/itssloppy_Joe for some free entertainment. All my NASCAR 21 Ignition paints, booth streams, and sloppy lobbies are on Twitch. So come join us. It's for free. It's free entertainment, and you get to race with me and chill with an amazing community as well. But we're about to go to the outline of the number here, which is going to be red here. And you'll see right here, we're not going to go too crazy with this outline because the red isn't as bulky of an outline. It's nice and thin, but it's that nice cherry red that's going to take over this take over the outline and make this number pop. All right, now to that outline of the number right here. So all you're going to do, guys, and the way I would do this here, you can either go back and copy and paste the logos that we already used, or you can just go ahead and add new ones right here. So basically what we did right there is we just went ahead and copy and pasted the, you know, the same ones we had before. Move your D-pad down all the way to go below the white ones and just change them to red, and boom, look at that. Simple as that right there to make your 3. And right here, we're just kind of playing around with the top of it. We're just going ahead and copy and pasting all those decals of the number. Go into the roof, go into the rear of the car, the right front of the car to add that 3 everywhere. And it is looking pretty good right now. So now we're going to move to the Goodwrench logo. So the first thing we're going to do right here is just going to get that nice solid GM square. This one actually took a little bit longer than I thought. The blue square, I mean, that's really easy. The blue square was simple enough to do, but it was getting the GM to fit very well with each other here. So what I did here was I took those two, I guess, I don't know what shape you would necessarily call that. But anyways, I went ahead and took those two like square / circle shapes and everything, made the outline for the G. Now I went to the M and everything, just took a bunch of squares, slanted them, played around with it and everything. Once again, I think adding these reference photos for you guys is really helpful. I think that's going to help you guys with when it comes to pausing the video and following along and just kind of seeing what I'm doing here. These paint schemes, they take a while to make, honestly. Like, when I first looked at this 3 car, and I really told myself, oh my gosh, like, this is gonna be easy. It's only gonna take me like an hour and a half. I think the total end of the stream was like 2 hours and like 30-40 minutes. So it was like another hour of time, but that's just the person in me wanting to make these paint schemes good and everything. So as you can see right here, we got the outline of the GM pretty well. We're gonna put that nice solid square, that long rectangle that is, below the GM as that logo shows right there. And I think at this moment right here, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the inside of the G. It was a little tricky here because the G does have some, it's got some weird internal thing with it. It's got a little bit of like an arrow pointing up on it too. But you'll see right here, once I finish up, it all makes sense. Opening up that gap to where the blue is separating the white. Then we add it right there, and boom, there's your G. And now it's time to go to the text. So the Goodwrench text, as you can see right here, it's a good mixture of solid squares, but also round shapes as well. So all I did right here, easy enough for the G, the 2 O's, the D, and I believe the C as well. All you really gotta do is use some solid circles and then add the internal part, make them black. And you'll see right here, the G came out perfectly. And then what I did right here, I just went ahead and copy and pasted the same circle I did for the O. to make goo. And now we're going over to the D, that is. And all I'll do right here is you just go ahead and do the same thing you did. Add another O for goo. Then you add another square, make that the D, and then look at that. That's a pretty good car so far. I know, knee slapper, right? Now it gets a little tricky here when we're going to the W. Well, I guess the wrench is an easy way to call it here. Just get some squares here. You're going to slant them and everything. Mess around with it. You just want to make sure you're lining it up with the bottom part of the D. This is the first thing I did when I messed up right here. I was following the circles and everything, but you got to follow that little end where the D is on that square. You know, to line it all up here. Moving on to the R. This one was a little tricky to do because the R has a little, you can see the shape I'm using right here. That's the shape, but it's not big enough to add all that space. So what I did here, I just copy and pasted a couple of them here to add that gap and everything, what the R should be looking like here. And I kind of play around with it a little bit right here. Now moving on to the E. This one actually was a little bit more tricky than I thought. I was like, oh, this is pretty simple. But it's got some weird turn to it. You gotta like add a square, then you gotta add a half a circle, then another half circle to add that gap right there. That's probably the trickiest letter when it comes to this entire thing besides the H at the end. But one of my viewers actually at the end of this told me, and he came up with a great idea. I believe his name was Kill It Like Jason. He was in my chat. He told me, why don't you copy and paste the N, which is what you'll be seeing right here. That actually comes out pretty good, and just move it over to the H. And I gave him big brain points for that one right there. But as you can see, the text is coming along very nicely. It wasn't that hard to make. It was just trying to understand how to make those tricky shapes like the E, the N, the H, and I would even say the R as well. But the good part, the half of the word was super easy to make. The wrench was the trickiest part, but once you just kind of understand how these shapes work and follow along with the picture, it's actually pretty simple to make. Nothing too complicated whatsoever. Now, one thing I'm going to go ahead and mention to you guys right now, just due to the time I had with this stream, I originally planned to make like 2 to 3 schemes during this stream, but this one took a lot longer than I thought. I didn't add the service text. I did not add the Goodwrench service. All I did was Goodwrench. I know. I'm sure I'm going to get some hate in the comments and everything, but unfortunately, when I was finished with this scheme, and you won't see it, I unfortunately got the save file glitch, and I lost my Dale Earnhardt car. I even lost my Jeff Gordon machine. I lost everything on the console side and everything. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing I didn't do the service or the plus, or at least, because it would have been a lot worse for me and everything. So as you can see, we're working on the base right here, guys, and it's pretty simple. All you really gotta do, just get some squares, get the gray and the red, line it up, make sure it's evenly matched. I always go with the side skirt. I made the side skirt gray so it goes really nicely. Add another little bit of a gray square to get it a little bit higher and a nice solid red outline. Now we're working on the contingencies, and I just kind of followed along with the car I had in the reference photo early on. The Craftsman's supposed to be your Snap-on is, and this is where I wanted to give this car that nice 90s feel. Adding the contingencies. I miss contingencies in NASCAR so bad. I miss them filling up the car. To me, it's what made a paint scheme pop out even more. You know, some paint schemes today, when they don't have it, they don't really pop out as much. Some schemes aren't meant to pop out, and when those sponsors aren't there, it makes it really look like kind of like a deserted scheme a little bit. It just looks like there's a lot more that could be done here. You can use any sponsors you want here, by the way. I'm not picky or anything, but you just got to fill it up. I always like to add a variety of colors and everything to kind of make that scheme pop more like the 90s did, because the 90s was all about colors, right? It was all about colors, wacky colors and everything. That's what it was all about. So I'm just kind of messing around here, following a base reference picture. We're working on the B and the C pillar right now. If I had more time, I would have loved to have made the Burger King logo and everything, but I really wish we can get a text to car you know, add-on, which would be amazing. Would save a lot of time. And as you can see right here, the scheme came along very nicely now. And I'm adding a little touch to this car, actually. Dale Earnhardt's cars, especially in the late 90s, were very iconic because it had a red Chevy logo on the hood as well. So this is my first attempt at actually making a red Chevy logo. Now, you guys don't have to do this part if you want. I just thought it fit the car very nicely. It actually gave a little bit more of a touch at the end as well, especially on the hood, since I'm not doing the service text, by the way. So as you can see right here, I just used some squares, you know, shrink them a lot, followed an old Chevy logo that I found online. This one was actually a little tricky. I made you don't want to make the top part of the Chevy logo too wide. It's going to look really, really dumb. But as you see, as I'm making the scheme, you'll notice that I notice it and I start moving the shapes and everything to what they originally should look like. And the key detail I would give to you guys about this one is just make sure you're going to where the inner part is. Don't expand, you know, the slant squares too far. And you'll see right here, I definitely made the top and bottom of the Chevy logo too big. That's the one mistake I made during this and everything. But you'll notice right here that I'm going to move them, going to make it a lot smaller and everything. And let's see what the Chevy logo looks like now that I fixed it. That looks a lot better. Wouldn't you agree? And right here, all I was doing, I was just moving the Goodwrench text and the GM square and everything down a little bit to, you know, just add the space more, fill up that gap and everything, guys. But look at this car. It's looking pretty good. Now for the back, you can do whatever you want here. It's not going to line up with your left or right rear quarter panel, but I just went ahead and added a gray square and a red square to the back, just for the modern era, for what the rear looks like. Then I went ahead and copy and pasted the Goodwrench and the GM square to the back of the car, not only once, but I also did it twice, and I added it to the deck lid on the top, just to, you know, just to fill up the car and everything. And then right here, you want to make sure you also do a black Camaro on the back as well, because the white doesn't really pop out. Now we're just adding more contingencies to the left front and the right front, because the 90s cars always had that space filled up as much as they possibly could. Again, add whatever you want. I just did whatever looked the best. Okay, guys. So, with that, I'm done. I am done. And the car came out very, very nicely. Oof. Wow. That took some time. That took some time. But I had an absolute blast.